Lovely. Yeah. So firstly, I would like to thank the Writing Equipment Society who sponsor the FPUK Zoom channel. And when I post the YouTube video of this, I will post some information about their membership as well. And we've also been sponsored today by Felicity's Attic, who, I don't know if you've seen them, they do post in group quite regularly. They actually make some stamps for swatching and things. And they've actually given us a set of stamps to give away to somebody random on the group, on the chat today as well. So that's quite nice. Lovely. Okie dokie. Right. So, first off, I do just want to say oh, no, I don't want to open my email. I am not a swatching expert by any stretch of the imagination. I have a collection of fountain pens, I have a collection of paper, I have a collection of ink, and I have a collection of swatching materials as well. So I just thought, as I've got so much stuff, it might be quite a good idea to show you all the different things that there are, and then maybe just use some of the things and show you how they work and the different ways that you can use them. So first of all, I'll start with the material that you can swatch and post onto and sort of. So I've got quite a pile of books and things. So there are actual swatch books available that you can buy. This one is an Endless Pens one. And as you can see, this one's not being used. But this has lots of detail that you can add, not just the colour of the ink, but the brand, which pen you've used, what the flow's like, what the shading's like. You can go into some real detail. And I actually picked this up last year with the plan to do one ink every week. That's gone really well. Then the other one, which, and I think Endless is still available, but only from America, which isn't ideal. The other one that is more readily available is a Good Impressions, which is on the lady's on Etsy, and she does lots of lovely Tomo River notebooks. So this one's a lot more basic. It's just there's room for a swatch, what it is, name of it, and the date that you actually swatched it. I know lots of people use these for their currently inked, which is quite a good idea as well. I personally tend to use Traveller's Notebook for my swatching, and I like the Galan Leather Tomo River notebooks, which are really quite lovely. And they have, and then just because it really tends to show off the ink quite beautifully. And then, of course, there are, you could do it in your dingbats. You can also do Hobonichi. Lots of people do the calendar spreads in the Hobonichi and things as well. So those are sort of the notebooks and things. And so you can kind of do it on anything. The other things that are available are swatch cards. These are colouring swatch cards, and that, in addition to doing it on notebooks and things, I actually have quite a lot of colouring. See, I told you I'd got a problem. The other things that are quite nice, so Wearing All do quite a lot of little cards. They do little cute ones like that. They also do ones which I don't know if you'll be able to see. Let me see if I can show you. They do ones where there's like relief around the edge so the ink doesn't go off anywhere else. And they do things like, for Alice in Wonderland, they've got the Cheshire Cat, and they do Pinocchio with his long nose and things, and you paint over it and the picture is relieved. They also do little books so that you can then put all of your swatches into them, into little folders, which is really quite cute. They additionally do sheets and cards of swatch papers in A5. This was bought to do a Halloween type colour swatch thing. So again,
Melanie says she's got the dominant industry book that she can show us if we want.
Oh, brilliant.
I'm quite intrigued by that.
Yeah,
a couple of people have said they've got Colt Penn's swatching book.
Let me unpin me and pin you. Oh, we're both pinned.
There we go. So this, I was actually, I feel so cheated. I've had this for a while now, and I've done some stuff for some reason, because I don't know, neurodivergence and all. I started it like at the back, and I was looking at it this morning, going through it, and I realized they've repeated the patterns. Oh, there isn't one different pattern per page. It's like the same picture is used at least 3 times. I'm like, oh, how dare you? How dare you? But anyway, this is it, and it is. Let me just find one in front of me that I can. Oh, and she's looking for one that she's colored in. Look near the back, Melanie. This one's a bit dark and gloomy.
That's okay.
And then at the back, though, there is a whole section. Can you see the blocks and the lines? So in it, you can like your main colors, where you do these little sort of what are they called in art, where you do little sections of a painting, studies.
Oh, yes.
Like little studies, and you can put the main colors that you use, and then obviously you do you go crazy there. And then some of the pictures are simple, a lot simpler than, like, well, there's this one. Look at these little clam macarons.
Beautiful, aren't they?
They're just
try
to die for. I mean, I just wanted to show you as well the wee Colt Pens one that is on Endless. And although I got this for free, I think it's 5, 6, 7, I don't know, somewhere around there. So
on the website, isn't it?
Yeah. So there is that one as well. And can I be braggy and show you my main one? Because this is what Melanie does when she's bored. I have.
Oh, they're fabulous.
A whole folder. So I've been doing all my swatches on little sort of playing card size, and then I had them in a little box, and I figured this was getting a bit big, and if this little box falls, there's going to be trouble. So I bought basically a baseball card collecting folder. And the nice thing is it's a ring binder, so you can add pages in as well. And then I've also, what I've done, this is a new thing of mine, is I've put in a little piece of paper to say which pen is using that ink at the moment. Although I do have, which sadly doesn't exist anymore, a currently inked.
Yeah, no, he's gone, hasn't he?
So I do both, but I like the idea of putting the little piece of paper in with the card here, because then I could actually see which inks or which color ranges I tend to use more than others.
No, it makes sense.
But that said, I at any given time, I generally have about 24 inked pens. So I pretty much worked it out to 1 per page of the folder. And I'm like, okay, this pen can only use these inks. And then it also helps with having to clean the pens and that sort of thing.
It also keeps the number of inks you've got down as well, I would imagine.
Sorry?
Does it keep the number of inks you buy down as well?
No.
Okay.
Don't be silly.
Does anything?
Haven't you seen my mug?
Fabulous.
So, where did you get that from?
I made it.
That was brilliant. I love that very much. Excellent.
So yeah,
So-
anyway, there you go.
No, that's brilliant. Thank you very much, Melanie. That's awesome. So, different tools that you can swatch with. Again, there are many, many. I've got a little pot. So one paintbrushes. I tend to use paintbrushes a lot for swatching, but I do know that people use cotton buds, and I will demonstrate the difference in a bit. I think a cotton bud makes the paint look quite flat, but it's personal preference ultimately. A glass noodle, which is quite a new thing that people have been using, or new to me anyway. So I've got the little Dominant Industries one, which is available from Pineapple Studios. I don't know anybody else who's got that. And then that was one that was actually in my goodie bag at the Dutch Pen Show. Different dip pens, but I will talk about dip pens in more detail because there are thousands of them. And then also stamps, which we touched upon earlier. So there are things like the acrylic stamps, and Felicity's Attic do a massive range. So they pretty much do every ink bottle shape that there is. So obviously there's your Pelican. That's your Ferris wheel press. That's Sabre. So yes, so those, and then there are also wood stamps. So that's an Art from the Heart one. That's a little inky swatchy one. That one's not actually ink, but that's another ink one. And they're quite good. Prior to them having lots of these ink swatch things, I actually made one for my inks, which I didn't use very much, but I made one. So there's all sorts of things, and other tools and things that you can use, things like embossing powder and bleach. I'll also do a little demo on those as well. So just talking about dip pens and things in more details, one of the most popular ones is the Kakamori dip pen, and I don't have it. I have had it and I didn't love it. I know most people do. I know I'm in the minority. I think there's me and one other person who don't like it that I've met. That comes in steel or brass. The brass is slightly softer, and you can use that to swatch as well as to write with. So that it is quite a versatile tool. I don't know why I didn't go on with it. Roshizuku have brought out a little dip pen that's just got a nib on the end. Got to be honest, I'm not a massive fan of it. I think it looks quite cute. It's quite inexpensive. I think it was about 15 quid. So, but the ones that I prefer are the Sailor ones. And that's because you can actually put a plastic feed in them. So they actually hold a lot more ink, and they write beautifully, to be fair. And they come in all sorts of sizes. So I've got a foot nib and a medium, but they do fine. They don't do broad because Taylor. So they're quite fun. You can just dip any of your pens, or if you've got the ink in a pen, you can use it. Nick Stewart uses I don't know if you know Nick Stewart. Nick Stewart is ink and bleach on Instagram and things, and he's a fab artist. He also does an online class that you can do, which is I quite recommend. I've done that. And he uses a Noodle as Ahab, and I have to say it is one of the nicest pens to dip and write with for that job. Glass dip pens, I'm not a fan. In fact, that's the only one I've actually got now. I have had in the past, but I don't get on with them. I know some.
What?
Serious Sunko.
Sorry. I know somebody said about them being scratchy. You can get some really fine sandpaper and do figures of 8. That does help. But again, I'm not a massive fan. One of the things I do enjoy is an automatic pen. Don't know if you've seen those before. But again, it's a dip pen just with a massive, massive nib. So I've got... So that's done with an automatic pen. And it's sort of... You start off with a lot of ink and then it gets less, so you get a lot of the shading and can see it really clearly, which is good fun. I did that. That's with an automatic pen. And I thought I had another one as well. Oh, yeah, there. And that's also an automatic pen. So it does...
Similar to Pilot Parallel, somebody's asking.
Yes, I would say so. The difference is, though, you literally can just dip it in. You haven't got to mess around filling the pen and everything else. So you can swap between. So that's one of my favourite things. And then different layouts and things that you can do. So one of the projects that I did complete a few years ago, I did 31 days of orange in October, and I just printed off some little pumpkins onto some watercolour paper and did that. We talked about using a calendar page. We've talked about the swatch books. So yeah, so ultimately there's lots of different ways that you can do it. That sort of covers everything I've got. I don't know if anybody else has got anything more, and if not, I'll have a play if you like. I will just show you the swatch cards. So if I could go back in time, I would lay them out differently. I started doing these 2020, maybe even 2020, maybe even 2019 actually. So the plan was that I had a splotch of colour and I wrote what it was, and then every time I put that ink in a pen I would write it underneath what it was. The reality is that has never happened. So if I were to do it again, I'd definitely do the thing that lots of people do, which is the stripe down the side. I do this as well as swatching it in other ways as well, and that's predominantly because this is in colour order. So when I'm trying to find a specific colour, this works. The only thing I would say is that it can drive you completely and utterly insane, because trying to decide what's the right colour order is yeah. I did, when I've done the advent calendars twice. I did Diary Mine a few years ago, and I did Colourverse last year. I actually just drew a little Christmas tree and did all my swatches shaped like Christmas trees, which I thought was quite cute. So yes, so what do you want to see? What do you want me to try out?
Just before we start, Steph, somebody's asked about ink pads for when you use the cutout things. Do you have any recommendations on that?
Ink pads for when we use the stamp?
When you use the shapes and the stamps.
I do stamping first then and show. There's quite a few things for that as well. So can we see? That works, doesn't it? Okay. When I bought this camera, because I had to buy a new camera for work, and when I bought this, my boss is like, why do you need it on the thing? And I'm like, only pens. Not only pens, it's only pens, isn't it? So the two inks that I prefer, the ink I prefer is archival. Turn it the right way up. But Stays On works as well. I don't know if anybody else has got any. I know Kath has probably got a million these ink pads. Any particular Yeah, archival.
Yeah. It's got to be waterproof. That's the main thing. I don't know if you can even get pads that are non-waterproof, but
well, yeah, because so the Tim Holtz ink pads, for example, they wouldn't be any good because they are water soluble. But yeah, so the archival ink. So if you're going to use acrylic, you do need a block, but you can get different types of different blocks and things. So they're quite useful. I tend to take my ink pad to my stamp and then turn it over. Oh, I did smudge it there a little bit. Ooh, give the camera a shake. And there's your image, which is quite cute. You can also obviously use, wood ones. And again, I would take the ink to the stamp rather than the other way around. It's just the way I got taught years and years ago. Tap it on, and then it's a little bit harder with a wood stamp because obviously you can't see where you're stamping. But that goes on like that. Which nice, quite clear images. You can also do it onto paper, and I'll do the stamp on paper as well because I'll show the difference that you get with the way the ink looks. I'll just do a stamp on there as well. Go. So, as I say, my preference is a brush rather than anything else. But I'll show you, in fairness, what I'll do is I'll show you first of all on here. I've got Moroccan mint tea because that's quite a nice one. So if I do it with a paintbrush first, you can see it goes on. You can layer it up and you can see. Then once I've got as much ink as I want on, I do tend to then go back in, dip the water, because then you can water it down a bit so you can see the different levels in the ink. And depending on the paper, you will get some chromatography as well. So that's that. But then if you were to use a cotton bud, you don't get quite the, and I've never tried dipping that in water. Oh, it does move a little bit. It's actually proving me a liar because it's not that bad, but I'll do it again on normal paper because I think the card has helped, so you can see the difference. That's it. And then if you use the same again on, just get rid of the water so I'm not diluting my ink. And if you use it on the Tomo River paper, you'll get a completely different finish again. Again, I would go in with a tiny bit of water. See how they finish. Actually, it looks a lot darker on that one. Might just go back in and get a little bit more ink. I'd actually say the Tomo River is truer to the colour of the ink because it does look a bit light, whereas it's pulled quite darkly on the card. But again, that's why I tend to add a little bit of water on there because it gives you a little bit of a finish. But you can see the two effects and the different types of paper very, very different. So if we're looking at stamping, the other thing that you can do, which is possibly ink pads and things like that, are dead easy to get hold of. The main thing is, as Catherine says, is that you want to make sure it's archival, not archival, waterproof. I have used quite a few. I just find the archival one is the cleanest, and by that I mean it gives me the sharpest stamp, is what I mean by that. The other thing that you can do, don't know where I've got these cards from, but I appear to have some, which can be quite good fun, is actually giving yourself so on the wearing all pads, some of them have got a relief area so that you can't paint over. Now you can actually do that with embossing powder. So again, you would take a stamp of your choice. This is called Versamark, which is actually, they call it a watermark stamp. So what it does is it's invisible, but it's actually also quite sticky. So sorry, it's a while since I've actually done any embossing, so I'm trying to remember all the stages. So same thing again, you get your stamp and you actually take your Versamark to it. Sorry, it wobbles a bit. And then stamp that on. Plenty of pressure. I don't know if you can just see that you can, it leaves, it's obviously got a little bit of ink on it from previous. I obviously haven't cleaned my stamp very well, but then you can just put this on. Got a little bit, you can see there, which I will just rub off. And can you see it's covered all of that? Now you also, for this bit, let me just put this back in. We'll just turn off my microphone because you need to then melt it, so you do need a heat gun. Hang on a sec. I don't know if you can see there, but that's actually, it just catches the light, it's melted. So that now is actually, if I didn't have...
Repeat what you've actually put on that, what the powder thing was.
It's embossing powder.
Embossing powder. Okay, I'll pop that in the chat.
And it basically, you can get all sorts of colours and all sorts of things with it. It's a whole different rabbit hole. I actually own it from a previous hobby. But what it does now is, let's get a nice, make sure. So ultimately, it's created a relief. So you can get as messy as you like with that, but you are in fact going to be left with the shape of the bottle showing through. So you can create any shape you like, which is quite cool actually, isn't it? So that's quite a good one. And I feel a whole rabbit hole I'm going down this afternoon. So those are the main different things you can do with embossing. As I say, you can get all sorts of different colours. This is Wow embossing powder, and again, there are thousands of them, but that one works all right. It's one I've used a lot of. And you can use it on any stamps that you like. It makes no difference because you can just then wipe this off with a baby wipe, which is what you should wipe all your, well, I don't know, maybe not, but that will get off any residue ink as well. So that just brings that off, and then that's that one done. Let me show you on normal paper the difference between cotton bud and cotton bud and brush. I think that's a good way. I'll do it on normal. So dropped me. This is the new Sailor Tea, by the way, which is the matcha one, which is just a fab green colour. So this is obviously a Dingbats notebook with, I haven't added any water to it, I'm just doing a slosh, and that sits there like that. Whereas if you go in with a cotton bud, it's quite a different, I think, because the cards are quite almost like watercolour card, you can see the difference, but you can see there that I think you're getting much nicer, truer finish with a paintbrush rather than a cotton bud. So that's pretty cool. I was going to show you. I shall actually show you with doing some writing with the oh, that's with the pen as well, but actually the narrow one's quite, I do quite like the narrow one, it fits on paper quite nicely. I'll go with green again actually. So literally you're just dipping into the ink like you would any ink pen, and then it's just a case of playing. And as you say, it is quite like the parallel, but it's quite forgiving. And it holds quite a lot of ink. So and I'm quite heavy-handed, and this is Tomo River, and it's still taking all that ink beautifully, even with this big, thick nib. Tiny little bit more. And then I quite like just finishing off the edges and sort of dumping. You can kind of dump ink into the ink that's already there, so it just gives little, oh, you can't see that very well actually. You can see on the top of that P, I've just dumped a little bit of extra ink into it. You can see the S is a lot. But you can again just see you're giving it some more shade. The S is where you've started, so you've ended up with a lot more ink. And in that T at the top there, you can just give it a little shape and drop a little bit more ink in. So you can have a really good play with it. That's, as I say, that's one of my favourites. Any questions or anything you'd like to see?
You said they're called automatic pens, but I'm searching for them and nothing's coming up. Would they be known as any other name?
I think they're also known as poster pens or something along those lines. Because I think they date back. They were used in early graphic design.
Right, let me
Just
see.
yeah, have a look for poster pens.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'll have a quick search.
That's annoying. That's what I wanted.
Can I quickly show something? Wendy was asking about the dominant industry book, about the paper. So see that there, and then I'll show you what's on the other side.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So there is absolutely no show through, like zero. It's magic.
That's great paper, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know what it is, or but
things.
it's nuts.
If you search automatic pen for calligraphy, they come up.
Perfect. Thank you.
No problem.
Somebody's asked Steph if you can use a hairdryer instead of a heat gun for the embossing powder.
Don't know. I've never tried, is the answer.
For watercolour, you can use hairdryers instead of heat guns, so it would be worth a try.
Would absolutely be worth a try rather than paying out for it initially. Again, it's one of those tools that I've collected over the years. So
I also use just an impact for the same release effect.
I'm not saying that.
This ones, and I can show you the stamp that I did with them. They're not as strong contrast, but it's just a lot simpler.
Absolutely.
So they are a little bit simpler. So
yeah, and it's really good.
Yeah, it's I know about the embossing effect, but for me, I don't feel like it's just too many steps. I have to clean the stamp and put the embossing powder, and then use a heat gun to activate it. Yeah, so I'm gone with the lazy way.
It works well, doesn't it? So, yeah, it does give a good finish, but ultimately, yeah, you're not. The other thing I have bought, but I haven't actually played with yet, which I think is a similar idea, is this.
Yeah, I have seen it as well. It's a new product, isn't it, from Japan?
Yeah, so I got it from one mini store, and that's supposed to give a relief without, but I haven't actually played with it yet. So, and there's bottles and things, so it needs instructions. I mean, if everybody's happy with that, what I'll do is I'll turn off the recording, because I think that's covered all the different things that you can do, and then I'm quite happy to have a play with this offline and see how it works. But I need to read the instructions, really. So is that okay with everybody? Everybody, any other questions before I switch it off? Just to let you know as well, there is another Sunday morning session. I quite like the idea of having a Sunday morning sort of chill chat type thing. Do you know what I mean? And I don't know if you've seen Lynn Miller. She does the Zentangle patterns. So she's going to do a chat on that on the 9th of November. So, and with that, I will stop recording.